Norton Anthology of Poetry, 6th edition. Margaret Ferguson, Tim Kendall, Mary Jo Salter. William Carlos Williams, page 1337, 1883 to 1963. Danse Ruche. If when my wife is sleeping and the baby and Kathleen are sleeping and the sun is a flame white disk in silken mists above shining trees, if in my north room dance naked grotesquely before my mirror, waving my shirt round my head and singing softly to myself, I am lonely, lonely, I was born to be lonely, I am best so. If I admire my arms, my face, my shoulders, flanks, buttocks against the yellow drawn shades, who shall say I am not the happy genius of my household? Portrait of a lady. Your thighs are apple trees whose blossoms touch the sky. Which sky? The sky where Watteau hung a lady's slipper. Your knees are a southern breeze or a gust of snow. Ah, what sort of man was Fragonard? As if that answered anything. Ah, yes, below the knees. Since the tune drops that way, it is one of those white summer days. The tall grass of your ankles flickers upon the shore. Which shore? The sand clings to my lips. Which shore? Ah, petals, maybe. How should I know? Which shore? Which shore? I said petals from an apple tree. Queen Anne lace. Her body is not so white as anemone petals, nor so smooth, nor remote a thing. It is a field of the wild carrot taking the field by force. The grass does not raise above it. Here is no question of whiteness, white as can be, with a purple mole at the center of each flower. Each flower is a hand span of her whiteness. Wherever his hand has lain, there is a tiny purple blemish. Each part is a blossom under his touch, to which the fibers of her being stem one by one, each of its end, until the whole field is a white desire, empty, a single stem, a cluster, flower by flower, a pious wish to whiteness gone over or nothing. Excuse me. The red wheelbarrow. So much depends upon a wet red wheelbarrow, glazed with rain, water, beside the white chickens. This is just to say, I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me, they were delicious, so sweet and so cold. Poem. As the cat climbed over the top, the jam closet, first the right forefoot, carefully then the hand stepped down into the pit of the empty flower pot. The yachts. Contend in a sea which the land partly encloses, shielding them from the too heavy blows of an ungoverned ocean which, when it chooses, tortures the biggest holes the best man knows to pit against its beatings and sinks them pitilessly, moth-like in mists, scintillant in the minute, the minute brilliance of cloudless days. With broad bellying sails, they glide to the wind, tossing green water from their sharp prows, while over them the crew crawls, ant-like solicitously, grooming them, releasing, making fast as they turn, lean far over and having caught the wind again, side by side, head for the mark, in a well-guarded arena of open water surrounded by lesser and greater craft which, sycophant, lumbering and flittering, following them. They appear youthful, rare as the light of a happy eye, live with grace of all that in the mind is fleckless, free, and naturally to be desired. Now the sea, which holds them, is moody, lapping their glossy sides as if feeling for some slightest flaw, but fails completely. Today, no race, then the wind comes again. The yachts move, jockeying for a start. The signal is set, and they are off. Now the waves strike at them, but they are too well made. They slip through, though they take in canvas. Arms with hands grasping seek to clutch at the prows. Bodies thrown recklessly in the way are cut aside. It is a sea of faces, but them in agony and in despair until the horror of the race dawns, staggering the mind. The whole sea become an entanglement of watery bodies lost to the world, bearing what they cannot hold, broken, beaten, desolate, reaching from the dead to be taken up. They cry out, failing, their cries rising in the waves, still as the skillful yachts pass over. A sort of a song. Let the snake wait under his weed, and the writing be of words, slow and quick, sharp to strike, quiet to wait, sleepless. Through metaphor to reconcile the people and the stones, compose no ideas, but in things invent. Saxifrage is my flower that spits the rocks. From From Asophadal, that greeny flower, Book 1. Of Asophadal, that greeny flower, like a buttercup upon its branching stem. Save that it's green and wooden, I come, my sweet, to sing to you. We lived long together, a life filled, if you will, with flowers, so that I was cheered when I came first to know that there were flowers also in hell. Today, I'm filled with the fading memory of those flowers that we both loved, even to this poor colorless thing. I saw it when I was a child, little prized among the living, but the Dead Sea, asking among themselves, what do I remember? That was shaped as this thing is shaped. While our eyes fill with tears, our love abiding love. It will be telling, though too weak, to a wash of crimson colors to make it wholly credible. There is something urgent I have to say to you, and you alone, but it must wait, while I drink in the joy of your approach, perhaps the last time. And so, with fear in my heart, I drag it out and keep talking, for I dare not stop. Listen while I talk on against time. It will not be for long. I have forgot, and yet I see clearly enough something central to the sky, which ranges around it. An odor springs from it, a sweetest odor, honeysuckle, and now there comes the buzzing of a bee and a whole flood of sister memories. Only give me time to recall them before I shall speak out. Give me time. When I was a boy, I kept a book to which from time to time I added pressed flowers until after time. I had a good collection, the asphodel forebodingly among them. I bring you, reawakened, a memory of those flowers. They are sweet when I press them and retain something of their sweetness a long time. It is a curious odor, a moral odor, that brings me near to you. The color was the first to go. There had to come to me a challenge, you dear self. Mortal as I was, the lily's throat to the hummingbird. Endless wealth, I thought, held out to its arms to me. 1,000 tropics in an apple blossom, the generous earth itself gave us leaf. The whole world became my garden, but the sea, which no one tends to, is also a garden. When the sun strikes it and the waves are wakened, I have seen it, and so have you. When it puts all flowers to shame, too there are the starfish stiffened by the sun and other sea wrack and weeds. We knew that along with the rest of it, for we were born by the sea, knew its rose hedges to the very water's brink. There are pink mallow grows, and in their season strawberries, and there later we went to gather the wild plum. I cannot say that I have gone to hell for your love, but often found myself there in your pursuit. I do not like it, and wanted to be in heaven. Hear me out. Do not turn away. I have learned much in my life, from books and out of them, about love, death. It is not the end of it. There is a hierarchy which can be attained, I think. In its service, its guerdon is a fairy flower, a cat of 20 lives. If no one came to try it, the world would be the loser. It has been for you and me, as one who watches a storm come in over the water. We have stood from year to year before the spectacle of our lives with joined hands. The storm unfolds. Lightning plays about the edge of the clouds. The sky to the north is placid, blue in the afterglow as the storm piles up. It is a flower that will soon reach the apex of its bloom. We danced in our minds and read a book together. You remember? It was a serious book, and so books entered our lives. The sea, always. When I think of the sea, there comes to mind the Iliad and Helen's public fault that bred it. Were it not for that, there would have been no poem but the world if we had remembered these crimson petals spilled among the stones. Would have called it simply murder, the sexual orchid that bloomed, then sending so many disinterested men to their graves, has left its memory to a race of fools or heroes. If silence is a virtue, the sea alone with its multiplicity holds any hope. The storm has proven abortive, but we remain. After the thoughts it roused to re-cement our lives, it is the mind that must be cured short of death's intervention, and the will becomes again a garden. The poem is complex, and the place made in our lives for the poem. Silence can be complex too, but you do not get far with silence. Begin again. It is like Homer's catalog of ships. It fills up the time. I speak in figures well enough. The dresses you wear are figures also. We could not meet otherwise when I speak of flowers. It is to recall that one time we were young. All women are not Helen. I know that. But have Helen in their hearts, my sweet. You have it also, therefore. I love you and could not love you otherwise. Imagine you saw a field of women, all silver white. What should you do but love them? The storm bursts or fades. It is not the end of the world. Love is something else, or so I thought it. A garden which expands through. Though I knew you as a woman and never thought otherwise, until the whole sea has taken up and all its gardens. It was the love of love, the love that swallows up all else, a grateful love, a love of nature, of people, animals, a love engendering gentleness and the goodness that moved me and that I saw in you. I should have known, though I did not, that the lily of the valley is a flower makes many ill who whiffed it. I'm so sorry. Who whipped it? We had our children rivals in the general onslaught. I put them aside. Though I cared for them as well as any man could care for his children according to my lights. You understand, I had to meet you after the event and have still to meet you, love, to which you too shall bow along with me. A flower, a weakest flower, shall be our trust, and not because we are too feeble to do otherwise, but because at the height of my power I risked what I had to do, therefore to prove that we love each other. While my very bones sweated that I could not cry to you in the act of asphodel, that greeny flower, I come, my sweet, to sing to you. My heart rouses, thinking to bring you news of something that concerns you and concerns many men. Look at what passes for the new. You will not find it there, but in despised poems it is difficult to get the news from poems. Yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there. Hear me out, for I too am concerned, every man who wants to die at peace in his bed besides. This will be the end of William Carlos. Thank you.